My name is Pat Smiley, and I'm the President and Executive Director of Keep the Faith in Frankfurt. And I'm also married to Bob Smiley, the editor of the Frankfurt Gazette, who has made it his life's work to really research the stories of the veterans, especially our heroes in Frankfurt, lest we forget. And I'd like to talk to Bob today about his efforts of recounting these veteran stories and keeping their memories alive and why it's so important to him. Good morning, Bob.
And good morning to you, too.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I'm proud of you anyway, but I'm especially proud of the work you have done in this regard. I know the history of Frankfurt has been important to both of us, and I know you started on this journey several years ago and have written 2 books, one a revised edition, about Frankford Heroes. Would you like to show us the book? And we have a reference. Yes, you just happen to have a copy.
Just happen to have it.
That's good, Bob. You're doing well. Thank you for talking with me, because I know this isn't something you especially enjoy. But one of the questions I had is, you are a veteran yourself of the Air Force. And what does it mean to you to be a veteran?
I've said it before that I was a reluctant veteran, and in my research for this book, I found out that all the way back in the history, all the way back to the Civil War, there were all of these people who were kind of reluctant veterans because the participation in military service was based on the draft system, and that existed all the way up through the Vietnam War. So you knew you were going to either be drafted or you were going to enlist, but one way or another, you're probably going to have to participate in this. And at the same time, once you became part of the military, you wanted to take pride in it, to do the best that you could, and to serve.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One more thing is that these fellows who went into the military, they didn't know what their life was going to be like. They couldn't tell what the future held. They just went out, they left home one day, and hoped for the best.
You have several hats, but one of the hats that you wear the most is your Air Force veteran hat. What does that mean to you, to speak to, that hat is important? It means something to you. And I think it's meant more as you've gotten older.
The more that I studied the lives of these 147 veterans who gave their lives, the more impressed I am with their stories of just simple human sacrifice. Ordinary people who were called upon to do sometimes extraordinary things. You don't know whether you're going to be called to do that, make that sacrifice, or to be lucky like I was and walk out of the Air Force 4 years later.
Yeah. There is something new that you discovered and have been spending a lot of time with, sharing these veteran stories beyond your book. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
That came as the result of the COVID-19 pandemic, because I found that I had a lot of time to continue research. And Ancestry, the genealogy website, has another program that they have called Fold 3. Fold 3 is the name that comes from what you get when a veteran is buried. You get the American flag folded into a triangle. It's 3 sides. That's where the name comes from. And that attempts to bring together all of the military records that somebody might have. And along with that, there are the opportunities for people to create memorial pages. So I spent the last 2 weeks creating memorial pages for the 147 veterans who gave their lives from Frankfurt. And the more I got into it, the more I relived those stories again.
Yeah, each time I'm sure they affect you differently, or you may see something that you hadn't seen before.
You find little pieces of truth that you didn't recognize before and entering that information.
Yeah, I know I found the stories to be really inspiring. Where do you see this going forward?
There's still more research to be done in Frankfurt veterans, and I'll continue to do that and have a new version of this book in 2021 that'll include all of the veterans who gave their lives from Frankfurt High School and from Northeast Catholic, because both of those schools drew people from Frankfurt, and they would have then had fellow classmates in the schools who would be included in that book. And there are a fair number of those people who we're going to include in the next book.
We still would like to give back. So this weekend, anybody who buys the book.
Oh, this book you.
Yes. Anybody who buys the book through our website, through our link, we will donate 20%, 10% to St. Mark's Church and 10% to Matthew 25, the food cupboard of the Catholic Daughters Court St. Francis de Sales in Frankfurt. St. Mark's in particular, because if you've ever been in that church, you have seen on their walls, they've really documented the stories of the names and the participants going back to the Civil War. And one of the things you may know is that Frankfurt, for a town of its size, sent the most number of, men to the Civil War. So that's another thing we're proud of in Frankfurt. So also, when we participated in the Dining with Dignity program, we would find many vets would come. We know that there are many of our veterans are suffering from the effects of war and have not always gotten the services they needed and have really had tough times. So we would like to keep them in mind too. So that's the reason for that too. Bob, I want to thank you for talking with us this morning. I want to thank you for the work that you do. And today it's very common that we talk about the people that are on the front lines, but our veterans were the original people on the front lines, and they still are today. So to all of our veterans, past and present, we salute you, we thank you, and we ask God to bless you. Thank you.